everybody, this is Alyssa from Make Arts and Crafts, and today we are doing a post review, and this post review is going to be for the canvas My Sword by Indicreates, and it is by Enablers Outpost. And this is the kit that I did for the IndiinDecembi 2023 event. So details on this canvas that we're about to look at, it is a 65 by 50 round drill kit, and it had 34 colors, 2 ABs, and 3 crystals. I started it on the 11th of December, finished it on the 28th of December, and it took me 29 hours and 37 minutes. And we are going to look at the ABs and all of the special drills that I added for it. So we're going to look in here. This is, you can see, this is the original art image of what this beautiful image is supposed to look like right there. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous picture right there. I love that picture. So we're going to do a quick look at the drills. It looks like I have a ton of drills left over, and I do have a ton of drills left over. So there were plenty. I had no issues with that. Overall drill look, you can see that overall looks pretty good. I am going to turn on the overhead light so we can look at the drills, so you can see a better look at these colors of the drills, just because otherwise they don't come through very well. So you can see here are all of the colors that we had for these drills. And there was a surprisingly large amount of crystals. So the 2 ABs that came with were a 209 AB, this beautiful purple right here, and this 444 AB. I actually did not use this 444 AB. I actually swapped it out, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And then the 3 crystals that it came with were a 154 crystal, which is like this burgundy reddish crystal right there. It's like a pinkish red crystal. And then it came with 939 crystal, which basically just looks like a black crystal. Basically just looks like you're placing a black drill. To me, it does. I don't see the crystal aspect of it. It just looks like a black drill. And then 550 crystals, which were then a purpley crystal, but also had like a bluish tone to them, even though they're the 550. So those were the 3 crystals that this was charted for. So kind of like a pinkish red, a purple, and then the black. So what I went ahead and added crystal-wise, well, first off, let me go ahead and show you the art. Let me slide this off to the side so we'll talk about this, and then I'll go over what I did bling-wise. So let me turn my overhead back off so we get rid of any glare so you can get the actual look of this art. Look at how gorgeous she is. This turned out absolutely incredible. I was overall extremely pleased with it. This was my first time working on a full-size Enablers Outpost canvas. So Enablers Outpost has 2 manufacturers they're working with right now. They have their main manufacturer, which is the one that does these larger canvases like this. And then they have their smaller manufacturer that Elizabeth calls the snack shop, or the snack factory, that does their smaller kits. So when you saw me do Kitschy Deer or Kitschmas, that one came from the smaller manufacturer. And that's a different manufacturer than this one. So you'll see things here that will look different than that. Like this, the canvas is a different quality and a different layout than that one. So the canvas, it had a very good adhesive. We're going to have fuzzies because Mochi was walking around on my canvas because it was laying on the desk. So I have some cat fuzz because it's a round drill. So the adhesive was fantastic. I had no issues with it. The canvas has a soft, creepy, fuzzy background. The serged poked edges. It's a little bit of a, more of a standard, rougher canvas material, but still like the soft backing. But you can see the adhesive was fantastic. No issues with that. The drills themselves look fantastic on here. Like, I had no issues with them. They look great on the canvas. There were some that had like some of like the overpour that you get occasionally on some drills, I think, that you see every now and again. But overall, I didn't have that much trash with the drills, so I was pleased with the drill quality. I had plenty of leftover drills, so that wasn't something that I had an issue with or anything like that, as you can see. So we had plenty with that. So what did I do to add to this. And like overall, when like looking at this image, the overall render of everything looks beautiful. The only, if I was going to be extremely super nitpicky on everything, which you guys know I like to nitpick everything, like here you can see when you look at her face, like the colors that they did for the blend in her face, I think I'm not a big fan of how some of these colors blended in for some of these skin tones here, but it's like when you look from the distance, it overall looks pretty good, but I don't really like how this kind of peachy tone fades into this kind of tannish gray, like this almost purpley tone right here. That's something that's me being super nitpicky. I'm not a fan of that. Those two colors right there, it's like I'm fine with the peachy one if it kind of goes into some of these other skin tones, but I don't like how it goes into this grayer tone right there, or that more lavender tone there. These ones I'm fine with here, but it's like this little area right here that I don't really like those two colors. But the overall look, beautiful. I do have to say, out of all of the canvases I've ever worked on, this canvas had the most confetti of any canvas I have ever done. And that is not an exaggeration. This thing is like literally sheer confetti. I felt like everything was just like checkerboard. And I'm a multi-placer. I single place with my multi-placer. I hardly ever use a single placing end for anything. And this entire thing was just like everything was checkerboarded. So I was constantly checkerboarding all of the drills with my with my multi-placer. Like even when you're looking up here where it looks like you're looking at her dark hair, you have the texture of it, because that is really, as I bring her up, let me go ahead and do this and give you guys this look. So I have another canvas laying underneath, but you can see that's not one color. You have the reds, you have some of those tans, you have the darks in there, you have sheer confetti up in that area there. There's like three tones. There's black, there's a grayish black, brown color, there's the burgundy crystal. Like it's literally sheer confetti. If we come down into, like there was a little section down over here where I actually did get to color block a little bit of 310, and that was enjoyable. I was like, oh yay, color blocking, yay. Like if we come down into like a section over here, you can see this is all sheer confetti. Over in here, sheer confetti. All of it was so much confetti. So this took me a long time to do for me in a canvas. Hi, Mozzarella, you walking through. You're going to stick to the canvas. You don't like sticky feet. Keep walking. So there was so much confetti for it. And that's part of what gives it... Oh, come on, baby. You're funny. No, we're not walking on the clean canvas. I know. I love you too. Why don't you go lay down? Here, sit in an oodie. There you go. So we're going to talk about what I added special drills. And that confetti is part of what it gives it this beautiful look that we're seeing here. Do not jump back up here. No. Thank you. So part of what gives it this look is because of all of this confetti that we have. So we're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to leave that up because I couldn't get my light angle just right with this particular canvas. So we're going to talk a little bit about what I added and what I swapped out and kind of where I put everything. So I organized I found that what I like to do when I'm putting my drills in my tray is I like to organize them. As you can kind of see right here, I organize them by letters or by numbers, and then I organize them by alphabetical order until I run out of the alphabet. And then once I run out of the alphabet, I go by special symbol. And the special symbol, I just go in DMC order. But I found that makes it so much easier for me to find what I'm looking for, to do letters, to go numbers, alphabet, and then symbols. So that's why it is the order that it's in right there. So first off, I have right here, I swapped out this brownish color here for some copper sparklers. In these copper sparklers, you're going to see kind of down in these swooshes. So anywhere that we have these swooshes, so like right in here, a little bit scattered in some of those, definitely over in the swoosh here, down in here, and a little bit down in here, we have some of the copper sparklers. And I specifically did not use I try to avoid using them in the bulk of her face right through here. There's some areas that I did kind of on special drills around the perimeter of some of that, but I avoided it if at all possible. So that was the copper sparklers that I used. Next up, I have, similar to locations where we had the copper sparklers, we had the metallic bronze. And I basically pulled out colors, and I pulled out my drills, and I knew I wanted to use anything that was like these browns, anything like that. I wanted to kind of add golds and browns and things like that to it and give it like that shimmery gold browns depth. So I used a lot of metallics is what I tried to aim for with this. So next up we have a metallic bronze. So you can see here's our metallic bronze, and this one for our metallic bronze was also right through here, much broader region. The sparklers were just a highlight, and the bronze was a broader region there. There's some of it in these swooshes here, there. There's a little bit up there, a little bit up in the top. Swooshing, they're scattered in some of these other swooshes. Broader regions of all of those swooshes that you see has those bronze sparkler, the metallic bronze. Next up for this gray right here, let me see, does it make it better to use this? For you to see the colors, yes. So for here, I used this Pixie Dust 3768, this kind of blue-gray pixie dust for this gray right here. So that one is going to be in, you'll find that in some of these more dispersed, kind of like up into like some of these accents in the background. That was only really in the background. In some of these areas like this, down into the corner, in some of these perimeter edges is where you'll find that one there. And then this particular one right here, this 414, I just did in AB 414. And that one is where you'll see, we'll turn that back off. I don't like the glare that we have. You see that sparkling right in here. That's what gives this shimmer here. Shimmer here. Again, that's giving us a lot of the shimmer up in this area, a lot of the shimmer. This is, I think, supposed to be the AB 414. Yeah, that was supposed to be AB 414. This was section number 2 right here. And I realized as I finished section number 2, which was like this line right here, that I completely forgot to add the special drills when I was doing section 2. I actually had to go through and pick off some of the non-specials over here because this was special drills and this was not, and it made this swoosh look really weird. But I didn't have the energy to go back through some of this over here and swap these grays out, so they're not specials. But that was the AB 414, and then I did another one of these darker grays, this 336. It's actually a dark blue, and made it a really dark blue that I turned into like, that I had a Pixie Dust 336. So it's a very, very dark blue that I used Pixie Dust for. And that one, let me see if I can see where that one is because it's such a dark, dark color. Okay, so this one is kind of just a small quantity scattered randomly as confetti throughout some of this area on her hand. Right in here, a little bit right there, but mostly along her hand. There's just like a little bit of a scattering of this one, and then down into here, a little bit in there for that one. Next up, I added this purple AB. So for this symbol F, this 333, I added a AB 333. And that one is going to be, again, in the background. So that's going to be right in here in these purple swooshes, where very much anywhere that the AB 414 was, is that purple AB. So it's going to be a lot over in here, right in here, here, and then over on the other side here, and then down into here. So all of that light color in the background is now pretty much AB. And then our next up actually was the really, really bright spots, which were supposed to be the 444 AB, which are just a handful of them. I actually swapped out for gold. These I swapped out for gold sparklers. So the gold sparklers I put right here. There's a few right there. There's a couple there, a couple here, and then in her, a couple right here in her face, and a couple right here on her eyelid. And then There's some right around the perimeter here. So some of that is gold sparkler as well. And then our next one that we did, similar in these backgrounds, these light areas of the background color, I added another pixie dust, this pale purple pixie dust 161 for a non-pixie dust 161. And that's again in these lighter color areas. That's like this area right here. Some of that is now pixie dust. It's a very subtle pixie dust. And our next one, this is basically our last one that I added is right here. So this really pale 744, I used a metallic gold. And that's also going to be right in here, right there, and a little bit right in here. So that basically was to go around our gold sparklers. So our metallic gold and our gold sparklers went together. And that was the last of the specials that I added. So basically, I blinged this up by adding and swapping out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 separate specials that I added to this kit to kind of give it this extra bling that we're seeing here. And that's what you see for all of this in the background. And it looks gorgeous. I love how much shimmer we have in the background there. I feel like it adds even more depth. I didn't add any crystals because it already had a huge amount of crystals. Like the crystals came in this container, and this container. Plus I had an entire extra baggie of 154 that did not fit in there, and an entire baggie of 550 that did not fit in there, that I just left out when I kitted everything up. So I was like, yeah, that's good enough. I'm not going to kit those up. And I still had, leftovers. But that's kind of what it ended up being as far as the drills were concerned. There was one area where I kind of made a little bit of I kind of messed up a little bit. And that was up here in the top corner. You can't really tell overall. But I was placing away, I was going to town, and I thought I was placing the 550 crystal, which really looks almost like blue on this canvas. It doesn't look super purpley. It looks almost blue with how this canvas is placed. It picks up a very bluish tone. So I was on my final section. I was working late at night on this final section, and I was almost completely done placing all of the 154 crystal, which is this reddish crystal right here. I was almost done placing that crystal in this section right here because I divided this canvas into 8 quadrants, and I was on that final quadrant, that final section right there, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna be done. This is coming along fantastic. Yay. I was super excited. And I realized that I had just placed the wrong color. I had picked it up thinking I was placing, and because I was like, I pick it up and in my head I'm thinking I'm picking up one thing, and then in reality I get distracted and I start placing the wrong thing. So I thought I was placing 550, but I was really placing 154. And at that point I just looked at it and I'm like, I'm not picking all of that confetti off of this canvas. There's way too much confetti. I don't have the patience for it. It is what it is. I'm leaving it. So all of this, so that's why this has such a lined look right up here, because that's supposed to be this purple color that you see right there. So that's supposed to be more of the purple crystal. That you see right in here is supposed to be over here with the rest of the purples. It's not supposed to be all of the red crystal. But so that's the only part of the canvas that kind of has that really super lined look right up there. Nothing else kind of has that same lined look like that. Everywhere else on the canvas blends really, really well. So it should have looked more like this. You can see how that's very subtle and blends in nicely. That's what it should have looked like versus that one where it stands out really well. a lot more than it should. And the hand should have had a lot more of the blue, so that you can see how this hand down here has a lot more of that purple. Well, it's not blue, it's the 550. And this one is a lot more red to it. But that's because I sat there and placed the wrong color, and I just didn't feel, I was like, yeah, we're not picking that off, we're leaving it as is. I can't want to, no go. But anyways, I was extremely pleased with this. I love how she turned out. I just was not expecting this much confetti. I don't know why. I do have to say that like the drill fields to me felt like it had a lot of like the circles around it. So I felt like I was working on one of like some of the, what it very much reminded me of when I worked on my Milagros La Luna canvas from Diamond Art Club, that drill field. I feel like when looking at one of my other enablers outpost, my landscape, when I work on that landscape, I'll have to see if the drill field looks the same or not. I'm not sure, because it's been a while, but it took me a while to get used to, because I'm not used to working on canvases that have guide circles anymore, really. I don't really work on a lot of guide circle canvases, but it just takes me a moment to get used to the feel of working on guide circles. But I love this. It turned out gorgeous, and I was super pleased with it, and I really didn't have any complaints, like I said, other than like the weirdness of this little bit of rendering, but that's me being super nitpicky. Every other aspect of this, besides the fact that it was like confetti, and I'm a color blocking person. I love my color blocking. So it was a big stretch to do all of this with the sheer confetti. Like, I actually had to take a break by working on my square canvas, which for me is crazy because I don't like squares. But the square I was working on was all color blocking. So that was my break, was working on the square, which is crazy for me. But anyways, that was my sword by Enablers Outpost, and she turned out incredibly. So I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.